Hey there, gaming enthusiasts! Welcome to Gaming Axia, your go-to source for all amazing action RPGs. With Monster Hunter Wilds coming out, I'm sure some of you don't have a strong enough PC to play it. Don't worry, I got you, bro. In today's video, I'll be listing the best action RPG games like Monster Hunter that you must play. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. On number 20, we have The Axis Unseen. If you're looking for a Monster Hunter-style game with a mix of fantasy and realism, The Axis Unseen is one to watch. This heavy metal horror game puts you in a surreal open world where you hunt terrifying cryptids based on real-world folklore, but this isn't just about slaying monsters. The Axis Unseen takes inspiration from The Hunter Call of the Wild, meaning you'll need to pay attention to the environment. Wind direction, terrain, weather, and even your heart rate can affect the hunt, making it feel real and immersive. Instead of high-tech weapons, you'll hunt with a primitive bow and a magic system, which also means you're just as vulnerable as your prey. If a skinwalker catches your scent, the hunter can quickly become the hunted. On number 19, we have Phantasy Star Nova. If you love Monster Hunter-style battles on the go, Phantasy Star Nova is a must-know PlayStation Vita game. It focuses on fighting massive enemies, delivering fast and action-packed combat alongside AI or multiplayer companions. One unique feature is how your character's clothes get torn when injured, adding a cool battle-worn effect that makes fights feel even more intense. And with multiplayer support, you can team up with friends to take down the toughest enemies together. The combat is fluid and fun, making it one of the best action RPGs on the Vita. Unfortunately, it was never officially released in English, so many players never got to experience this hidden gem. On number 18, we have Ragnarok Odyssey. This game seemed like a fun, fast-paced action RPG for the PS Vita with a Monster Hunter-style gameplay loop, but unfortunately the game can be quite repetitive. At first, the combat feels fun. You pick a class, go on missions, and fight waves of enemies in a loot-driven adventure. The game lets you switch classes, customize your character, and even play online with friends. But here's the problem. It gets old fast. You're stuck doing the same missions, fighting the same enemies, and running through the same maps over and over. That said, if you're looking for a Monster Hunter-style game, you might still want to check it out and see if it works for you. On number 17, we have Final Fantasy Explorers. Final Fantasy Explorers is a game that Final Fantasy fans will love, especially if they enjoy monster hunting gameplay. Instead of turn-based battles, this game lets you team up and take down classic Final Fantasy monsters with legendary summons like Ifrit and Bahamut as the main bosses. The game is built for multiplayer using a job system similar to the main series, where each player takes on a specific role in the team. If you're playing solo, you can even recruit previously defeated monsters to fight alongside you. Since the game is designed for short sessions, the mission variety is limited, but it's still a fun pick-up-and-play experience for Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter fans alike. On number 16, we have Lord of Apocalypse. Lord of Apocalypse is an improved version of Lord of Arcana, bringing better graphics, smoother combat, and new features. Unfortunately, it was never released in English, but thanks to fan translations, it's still playable. This game follows the Monster Hunter formula, but instead of hunting dragons, you take on dark, mythical creatures in a fast-paced action RPG. The game features deep customization, allowing you to choose weapons, skills, and even summon bosses you've defeated to aid you in battle. The combat system is unique, letting you cast magic in the middle of combos and level up in real time, keeping the action fast and exciting. On number 15, we have Kaiju Busters. Kaiju Busters, or Monster Busters in English, is a Monster Hunter-style game that never made it to the West. Developed by Bandai Namco, this DS-exclusive RPG lets players explore distant planets, hunt giant monsters, and upgrade their gear along the way. The game is loosely connected to Japan's Ultraman series, though you don't need to know anything about it to enjoy the experience. You play as a space marine, tasked with taking down massive creatures, all while unlocking new suits, helmets, and weapons. The game even uses both DS screens to show off the scale of these monsters, making battles feel bigger. On number 14, we have Toukiden Kiwami. Before Wild Hearts, Koei Tecmo tried their hand at a Monster Hunter-style game with the Toukiden series. But instead of hunting dragons and wyverns, players face demonic creatures from Japanese mythology called Oni. This gives Toukiden a darker, more mature feel, perfect for those looking for unique and terrifying monsters to fight. Toukiden Kiwami is the remastered version of the original, bringing the game to modern hardware with new features and improvements. While it shares a similar gameplay loop to Monster Hunter, there are enough differences to make it feel like its own thing. On number 13, we have Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 comes from Capcom, the same team behind Monster Hunter, and you can definitely see the influence. Players explore a semi-open world, traveling from town to town, taking on quests, and following the main story. But where this game truly shines is in its epic boss battles. From towering cyclops to fierce griffins, the world is filled with massive mythological creatures that make every fight a thrilling challenge. You don't have to play the first game to enjoy this one. Dragon's Dogma 2 is more of a reboot, improving on everything that made the original great. On number 12, we have Eternal Strands. This game is shaping up to be one of 2025's best indie games, and for good reason. It's made by Yellow Brick Games, a studio founded by legendary developers behind Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Eternal Strands blends the exploration of Breath of the Wild, the towering bosses of Shadow of the Colossus, and the crafting and combat of Monster Hunter, all in one epic adventure. Players will explore open areas, gather resources, and craft powerful gear to take on massive enemies, including giant Monster Hunter-style bosses. But here's the twist. Combat isn't just about weapons. You'll wield elemental powers like fire, ice, and gravity, not only to attack, but to manipulate the world around you. You can freeze water to create a bridge, build walls with ice, or ground a flying enemy by freezing its wings. On number 11, we have Granblue Phantasy Relink. This game takes the Granblue Fantasy franchise in a bold new direction, moving away from its mobile and fighting game roots and stepping into the world of action RPG. Just like in Monster Hunter, you'll explore handcrafted locations, fight smaller enemies, and then take on a massive boss. After winning, you can return to the area for tougher challenges, stronger enemies, and better loot. Back at the hub, you'll craft powerful weapons, upgrade your team, and prepare for even bigger fights. With dozens of characters to choose from, each with unique weapons and abilities, this game offers tons of variety. It's one of 2024's most underrated RPGs, and more people should be paying attention. On number 10, we have God Eater 3. Before Monster Hunter became a global hit, God Eater was one of its biggest competitors. It takes the same monster hunting formula, huge beasts, oversized weapons, but gives it a futuristic, anime-style twist. Unlike Monster Hunter, which focuses on methodical combat and deep crafting, God Eater 3 is all about fast, flashy action. You can pull off stylish combos, switch seamlessly between melee and ranged attacks, and move with fluid speed. The crafting system is also more streamlined, so you can jump into the action without worrying too much about grinding for materials. On number 9, we have Horizon Zero Dawn. The Horizon series did for Monster Hunter what Wilds is trying to do now, but almost a decade earlier. It takes the thrill of hunting giant enemies, gives each one unique weak points and attack patterns, and throws you into a massive open world filled with adventure. Instead of just swinging a sword, you can set traps, use different weapon types, and even fire elemental attacks to take down your foes. But what really makes Horizon Zero Dawn is their post-apocalyptic setting. Humanity has returned to tribal roots, struggling to survive against a world overrun by mysterious, aggressive machines. And that mystery is what drives the story forward. On number 8, we have Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It's an RPG that mixes Monster Hunter-style combat with epic Western RPG adventure. The combat of this game is pure chaos and fun. You can climb on monsters, slice off tails, or unleash massive spells that shake the battlefield. With 9 different classes, from sword-wielding fighters to magic-powered sorcerers, the game lets you switch up your playstyle anytime, but the real game changer is the pawn system. These AI-controlled companions learn from experience and can be borrowed from other players, making them smarter and more capable over time. They help shape your journey, even if they do talk a little too much. On number 7, we have God Eater 2 Rage Burst. This is the second game of this anime-style Monster Hunter series, and it takes everything great about the first game and cranks it up a notch. One of the coolest parts of God Eater 2 is its weapons, known as God Arcs. These aren't just any weapons, they're made from the cells of the Aragami, the massive monsters you're hunting. That means when you take down an enemy, you can use their remains to upgrade your gear, literally devouring them to grow stronger. Want to rush in swinging a massive scythe? Go for it. Prefer sniping from a distance? That works too. Plus, these weapons can transform into different forms, giving you more strategy and flexibility in battle. Mastering the right weapon at the right time can turn the tide of a fight. On number 6, we have Dauntless. Dauntless is a free-to-play multiplayer game that blew up when it launched in 2019. It's basically Monster Hunter, but without the price tag. The gameplay sticks close to the Monster Hunter formula. You craft weapons and armor in the hub, then head out to hunt massive behemoths, gather resources, and upgrade your gear. Over time, the game lost some popularity, but with updates like Dauntless Reforged, it brought more exploration and adventure into the mix. While it may not be as polished as Monster Hunter, it's still a solid choice for fans looking for a similar experience. experience, especially since it's free. On number 5, we have Toukiden 2. In Toukiden 2, your mission is simple. Slay massive demons called Oni to protect humanity from destruction. Imagine Monster Hunter, but instead of wyverns and dinosaurs, you're fighting terrifying creatures straight out of Japanese folklore. The gameplay is super similar to Monster Hunter. You hunt giant monsters, bring friends for the battle, upgrade your weapons and gear using materials from fallen enemies, and yes, it all started on handheld consoles just like Monster Hunter. If you're looking to try Toukiden, you could go for Toukiden Kiwami, the enhanced version of the first game. But for the best experience, Toukiden 2 is the way to go. It was built with PC in mind and is the only open world game in the series, making it the Monster Hunter world of Toukiden. On number 4, we have God Eater Resurrection. If you want to try a Monster Hunter style game but with an anime twist, God Eater Resurrection is a great place to start. The combat is fast and tight, though it can feel a bit repetitive and not as complex as Monster Hunter. But where it truly shines is in the story, world building, characters, and music. Plus, it's pure anime, so expect all the classic anime tropes along the way. For me, this game hits hard with nostalgia. I played God Eater Burst back in the PSP days, and diving back into the world of origami slaying still feels just as fun. The charm, it's still there, even after all these years. This remake of the first God Eater game makes it the perfect entry point for any fans who want to try the God Eater series. On number 3, we have Freedom Wars Remastered. Freedom Wars Remastered brings back the iconic 2014 PS Vita game, now updated for PC and modern consoles. It follows a similar structure to God Eater, which, like Monster Hunter, focuses on hunting massive enemies with a mix of strategy and action. Set in a bleak future, you play as a prisoner with a 1 million year sentence. To earn your freedom, you must take on dangerous missions, battling giant enemies called abductors. You'll fight with a variety of weapons and AI-controlled teammates, making every battle challenging and exciting. With quality of life improvements and modern updates, Freedom Wars Remastered feels smoother and more polished, making it perfect for players used to Monster Hunter games. On number 2, we have Wild Hearts. If you love Monster Hunter, Wild Hearts is probably the next best thing. It's Koei Tecmo's second try at making a Monster Hunter style game, and this time, they nailed it. Just like Monster Hunter, you'll take on huge bosses, explore vast open areas, gather resources, and fight in fast-paced third-person battles. Plus, with tons of weapons to choose from, there's always a new way to take down your prey. But here's the twist. Wild Hearts lets you build structures to help in battle. Need a boost? Build a tower? Want a heavy attack? Drop a giant hammer. These tools can be upgraded, making fights even more strategic. On number 1, we have Soul Sacrifice Delta. What makes Soul Sacrifice stand out from other monster hunting games is its deep story and unique mechanics. While most games in this genre focus mainly on combat, this PS Vita hidden gem delivers one of the best narratives in a monster hunting experience. The game's biggest twist is the sacrifice system. You can save or sacrifice both enemies and allies, each choice changing the outcome of battles and shaping your character's abilities. Do you spare someone and keep your humanity, or sacrifice them for more power? Every decision tests your morality and adds weight to every fight. And there you have it, fellow gamers. Which game is your favorite? Did we miss one that deserves a spot on the list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic gaming content, and ring that bell so you're always up to date on the latest and greatest games. Until next time, and happy gaming!